And I was not surprised that you have the LSU kid, Derek Stingley Jr., as your top cornerback. I'd accuse you of some New Orleans homerism, but Stingley is regarded as, if not the very best corner, number two. I personally have Sauce Gardner at number one, but make the case, why is Derek Stingley Jr. your top cornerback in the 2022 NFL draft?
He's your best all-around corner, whether it's bump and run coverage, whether it's off, whether him just diagnosing formations, down a distance, 3rd and 8, 2nd and 10. But he has the best ball skills out of anybody, and they were saying if you just listen to what they were saying to LSU, if they really wanted to, man, they could have put him at wide receiver. He just so happened to play corner, So and he did this coming in as a freshman. So when you come into LSU, and LSU is known to be DB City, when you come in as a freshman and you start as a freshman, and they say during the spring games that you're the best corner on the team, then you just show that with your play. That's Derek Stingley. But he's just too smooth. He's smooth in and out his breaks. And when you look at a corner who can catch the ball, you kind of look at a corner who's a very good coverage guy, like, okay, can he tackle? That's exactly what he can do. So he's able to diagnose plays ASAP. Them quick screens, the reverses, quarterbacks getting loose, running backs trying to pop out to the outside, him shedding, taking on blocks. He does that, and we call that a want to. When it comes down to tackling, you got to want to tackle for a cornerback, and that's what Derek Stingley does. So for me, he just checked out everything. He checked out all the boxes when it came down to it. So for me, he's the best all-around corner. Usually a lot of guys panic when the ball is in the air. PBUs, they catch flags, they hold. He don't do none of that. He turns around and he becomes the receiver. So what you preach as a coach to your DBs, like, hey, when the ball is in the air, become a receiver. A lot of guys can't get their mind and wrap their mind around that. But Derek Stingley, man, when it came down just to be able to do everything, whether he was bump and run, whether he was off, whether he was diagnosing plays, whether he was catching picks, whether he was making tackles behind the backfield, he could pretty much do it all. And he do it all without even making it look hard, Mark.
I wrote down a list of receivers who Stingley went up against in practice at LSU. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall Jr. You're going up against the best of the best at the receiver position opposite you. That only has to bode well for Stingley. The word of warning I have is, you said last segment we were talking about Edmonds, the best ability is availability. And he hasn't played much the last 2 seasons. And that's where I have a little bit of disruption of playing just 7 games in the 2020 season. Now, remember, 2020 was a little bit shortened, but combination of COVID disruptions, non-COVID illness, leg injury. And then he played in just 3 games in the 2021 season, held without a pick, but it was because of a foot injury. So that's just kind of, I don't know if I would say a caution flag, but again, I would just like to see more of him, because from what I've seen of Derek Stingley Jr., from a talent standpoint, I'm right there with you. He's a 5-star prospect out of Baton Rouge coming into college. He was the 3rd overall player in his class, the top-ranked corner in his class. So it's no surprise he's at the top of your board. At number 2, though, Ike, go ahead, Ike, hop in.
No, what you see from Derek Stingley, you see the progression of what you want to see in guys. In 3 years, he did that his first year. So usually he played like a senior. So he had the total package as a freshman. So you like to see guys grow and develop, from their freshman year to their junior, senior year. He did everything his freshman year. That's what makes him so special.
Yeah. I mean, it was 6 interceptions, 15 passes defended as a true freshman when LSU won the national title. That 2019 team, Ike, one of the all-time great college football teams. 100%. Wasn't just Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow and company. Joe Burrow of the LSU band, because it's like every time the offense stepped on the field, it seemed like every position group, they had NFL talent at every level of both offense and defense. And Derek Stingley Jr. was certainly a part of that.